In 5, 4, 3. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Nick Campbell, and with me always is my buddy,
David Steele.
and we are
Rhythm and Wit.
All right, we're here. We're doing it. We're doing a thing. Today we're interviewing Queen versus
Yay,
the podcast.
welcome.
God, how exciting.
with Indya Naomi
Hello.
and
Welcome.
Olivia Lycan.
Yeah, that is I.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey.
You're doing great. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Yeah.
saying what's up. We're very happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. You got us up here at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Just doing
Praise
things in the
to God, doing
daytime.
the
You're
Lord's
gonna have to
work.
get
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
A
That's
lady
it.
was walking down the street. I guess she was getting ready to get to her job, and she just gave me a look. And just kept on walking. She's minding her business.
It's early. It's but yeah, I listened to a few, just like the Christmas podcast. Kind of looked over
that was
some
like
of
the
your
most recent one,
your
right?
Oh,
clips.
yeah.
I was in that one.
Love your guys' podcast. Just how you guys talk so well together.
Yeah, very
and
good.
fill the
team.
space. I always feel like I have a hard time, especially up front. I'm trying to do it right now, but but filling the space and
Yeah.
giving context. You're so friendly and good characters with each other. That it's like nice to hear.
We
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
I've known this girl. I've known for a long time.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
started doing drag
ask.
together.
When did y'all meet? How long have you known each other?
Years.
Yeah,
Sounds like it was tough.
We're Gen
4
Z.
years.
Okay.
3 or 4
4
years
years?
ago. Yeah, we
Okay.
started an open talent together,
Mhm.
and I knew right from the start that I hated her.
I
I'm just
did.
kidding.
It was a
Do,
match.
do we cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
This bitch walked in. She was wearing a butterfly bodysuit with wings on it and a hard front neon purple wig. And I said, "Who's this?"
Yes, and
Who
she
is this?
she rolled in a wheelchair, and I was like, "All drag is valid, I guess." And then she stood up, and I was like, "Now wait a minute."
The audacity to wear a
Yeah.
hard front
Yeah.
wig and tell me all drag is valid is crazy.
So how did you get into it? How did you get started?
I grew up real conservative. I wasn't exposed to any queer media except we talked about this the other day. There's a film called First Sunday. Have you ever seen it?
Hmm.
Is it a Tyler Perry film or?
No.
It's not affiliated.
No.
So it's just like these two men go and they rob a church, right?
Mhm.
But it had Jesus in it to some degree, so we were allowed to watch it as a kid. And there was a
Okay.
drag queen in it. I didn't know at the
Uh-huh.
time. She was Jasmine Masters from season 7 of RuPaul's Drag
Yes.
Race.
Okay.
But she was in that before she was famous.
Mhm.
That was my I didn't even know I'd already been
Mhm.
exposed to drag a little bit. So I saw bits and pieces where you could Medea, sometimes
Mhm.
because Tyler Perry's Christian or whatever.
Yeah.
And then in high school,
Whatever.
I ended up watching RuPaul's Drag Race
Yeah.
season 7, which
Mhm.
Jasmine Masters was fun, and I loved it because I was terrified of queer media and queer culture because it
Yeah.
was just something
Because
that
it was like your family telling you not to.
absolutely yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched that, and then there was a place on the strip you can get in as a underage person. You
Mhm.
get in at 17 years
Is
old.
it was it the rec room?
It-
Rec
it
room.
was, yeah,
the rec
that
room.
was my
Yep.
our
Yep.
first club, I'm sure, when
Yeah.
we were underage too.
Yeah.
And I went to
Long-
the
yeah,
show, and it was
long ago.
bad. And then
Mhm.
here we are. I was hooked after
That's-
that.
Yeah.
I
What
don't
is
know.
it that got you hooked? What was it?
Yeah.
I
doing
just had I
drag.
just had fun, and I've always enjoyed feminine things.
Mhm.
I loved a Littlest Pet Shop. I was never allowed to have it as a kid. I always loved wearing my grandma's heels and just feeling the fantasy. So finding out that you can do that anytime you want is kind of I'm
Yeah,
sold on it.
it's
So
just yeah.
So you got into it. You started doing that. When did you start producing your own shows?
we're almost doing Boom Roasted is my show I do in Stillwater.
Mhm.
That's like the
okay.
show that I started hosting. We're on our 4th year in February. That'll be our 4th year anniversary,
Wow.
which is
Whoa,
crazy.
that's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess 4 years ago in
Yeah.
February.
Yeah, that's great.
So-
That's a long time.
How did you get started?
I used to be a dancer in high school,
Uh-huh.
and so I used to be in color guard, and I used to be in the marching band, played instruments. So I was used to performing on a very large stage or
Whoa.
platform.
Mhm.
And then after I graduated, I just got the itch, and I was like, I miss performing. And some girl that I had met, she was like, "Have you ever tried drag?" And I was like, "No, I'm not that gay."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, I think you'll be really good at it." And there's this place, this bar called Frankie's. They were
Uh-huh.
doing open talent. She was like, "Well, just try it once." And so I bought my very first wig, which is that purple hard front, and I threw on an eyeshadow literally just smudged it. It was rough.
It's-
It was
Yeah.
rough, but I fell in love with it like from then on, and then
Mhm.
ever since, and then I met this one, and then yeah,
Can't
Begrudgingly?
get away.
Yeah.
Can't get
yeah,
away.
it was great. It was no, but it's been
Yeah.
great. Like I love it, and I mean it's gonna
yeah.
take me far. I think. I mean, so
Listen,
far
she got a grip on my
so far-
coattail. She's holding on
Yeah.
to it for dear
Yeah,
life.
I'm
but
holding
that's-
on that thread.
Hey, that's what I'm doing with him. You see
Yeah.
all this stuff. This wouldn't happen without Dave. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, but you're doing the comedy that it's for us is very symbiotic.
You're
like
right, I am
that.
better. So-
because like without the comedy, without the comedians, the performers, and there is no show either.
Without
but,
him, there is.
but
no
the
treasure.
Yeah.
but there's something about drag that I'm straight. You know, obviously, just from an outside perspective, like I've always loved drag shows. Like I've started going. Maybe I don't know that I ever saw one at the Rec. I mean, we must have at one point, but we just went there and just listened to music and the DJs and did other stuff.
Ecstasy.
Yeah, your Gatorade and chips.
Yeah, For me, it was the Hilo Club. Every
yeah.
Friday
Oh.
night they had drag.
Mhm.
And that was my bar. We hung out there every night of the week. Back in the day. Just about, but Friday nights, obviously drag shows. I loved it. I don't know why it was. Like I said, I was telling him earlier. It's like always been fascinated with drag shows. Like I've known many drag queens, had friends. Like been around the culture enough, but it's like I'm not, in the culture necessarily. But for whatever reason, but for me, it's the performance. It's like
Yeah.
it's just because I am a performer. I'm a musician, perform on stage, but I love it. That's similar to comedy. It's like that's a performance. That's what's drawn. Those are the links in my mind to all those things. So, yeah, it's great to get to talk to you guys and hopefully dive in some more into that.
He pointed the
No.
guys in your. He said guys to you.
It's okay. It's the shoulders. It's the
Gentlemen,
shoulders and the
how are we?
biceps.
Yeah.
But no, with you, we love the performance aspect. Same here. Just the engaging freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you
Yeah,
just see,
it's very creative. Obviously, put your
that's I love the
costumes
freedom
together
is
and all
there.
that.
People
Yeah.
ask me if I do because I do stand up and they're
Mhm.
like come to our show or whatever or like an open talent or something just to
Mhm.
come do an open mic and they're like, you can just do it out of drag and I feel like I have the liberty to do the things I want to do just as a boy
Mhm.
because when I do this. What are you gonna tell me no? No,
Yeah.
you're not gonna tell me I can't. You can't tell me I can't say that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will come on. We do TikTok live a lot, and people will come on and say hateful things. But it's easier to
Mhm.
handle criticism because they're criticizing a character.
Right.
Like this is not
Yeah.
me who I
Interesting.
am.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's armor. So it
Mhm.
is free. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So
So
it can
you
be
can
hateful.
express
I do think
yourself a little bit more physically or out there. I mean, when you're engaging with the crowd like that, and you're almost bringing people up to the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotionally. I mean, I feel
Mhm.
I'm up there whenever
Yeah.
whenever you're dancing, lip syncing, and
it sucks you in. I
yeah.
think,
Oh my
for
god, this is
sure.
awesome. Yeah.
I thought about that too while I'm on stage. Like I for years I've always liked to find interesting not costumes but like clothes that I wouldn't normally wear every day. But it's like when you're on stage, like you said, you're on stage. It's like you're there to be the show entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's like you can wear whatever you want. Nobody's can even, and obviously you can wear whatever you want anytime. You should be able to, but it's like in your mind, it's like it makes it okay that you
Yeah.
can do this.
When did you find that first freedom?
You
for-
felt real free coming in there in a butterfly bodysuit and a hard front wig.
I
You
sure.
felt-
Well,
Is it a little scary
well,
sometimes?
It
too?
was a
Mhm.
yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, almost every time.
Mhm.
Almost, at least for me, it's almost like every time it's just the rush of adrenaline. But
Mhm.
something, me personally, something just clicks, and I go into full autopilot,
Mhm.
and it's nice to have like almost like an outer body experience of watching myself have fun.
Mhm.
And because it's genuinely me having fun, the audience will
Yeah,
more than
they
likely
respond.
they respond with
Mhm.
that, and then they can tell when you're like fishing for dollars or
Mhm.
Yeah.
trying too hard, and then it's
Yeah.
like, ugh,
Mhm.
oh yeah, give it up. But it's just that's normally how it just goes for me. I think it just
That's
just
great,
switches
yeah.
on.
You can tell when India gets in the zone. You'll look at her and her eyes will just glaze over.
Yeah.
And she don't know who you are. She don't
Yeah.
recognize you because
Yeah.
she's just shaking a thigh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The president of the United States could walk in and she's just gonna
It's
shake
like-
her thigh. She's gonna recognize.
That's it.
That's awesome.
I love that. So you both do a lot of TikTok
Yeah.
live production or live productions, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And live podcasts. I wanted to talk to you about how TikTok may be ending, as well as at
Mhm.
the time you're monetizing that right now.
Yeah.
You know, how does that affect you, and how do you get the monetization? Let's start there.
Well, TikTok you don't know. She
I'm still trying to figure out
Yeah. She
just
the
shows up.
credits, the coin system.
Yeah,
the-
I
yeah.
don't need- yeah.
The currency is throwing me for a loop. So I was
Mhm.
never great with
Mhm.
numbers. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
whenever it's time for her to get her paycheck, though, she will be good with numbers. She got a calculator out. She got a little hat on. She's typing away.
16
Yeah,
hours this week
yeah,
at $12.
Absolutely.
No, so TikTok liked us, I guess. They gave us early access to live streaming.
Oh,
We
okay.
just have 1,000 followers first, and we got it.
Mhm.
But we had like just started our TikTok channel,
Mhm.
and we had access to it. And as soon as you go live, you have access to monetization. People can send you gifts.
Mhm.
You can also do we got access to a subscription service as well, so people can kind of like
Yeah,
Patreon.
Subscribe
Yeah.
$5
Yeah,
a
yeah,
month or
absolutely.
whatever. Yeah.
But that's really fun. They also take a huge portion of it,
Mhm.
like
How much?
50% of the
Yeah,
gifts,
Yeah.
That's a lot.
and then 50% of the subscription plus like a 35% like transaction fee goes to whatever service provider they use, and then to cash
Mhm.
out, PayPal takes like a 3% fee as well.
Yeah,
So
Oh my gosh.
by the time we get the money, it's like been touched by everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Literally.
So it's,
So it's
definitely
like the
not-
government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
We-
yeah,
no, we
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
we haven't paid taxes on it yet.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
coming up.
Yeah,
we
that's
got to pay
coming
that
up.
as well.
Yeah, we have to.
After.
So it's not
The government.
lucrative
Yeah,
yet. So we're
but
still
like
building it, but-
we were talking about this a little earlier, but it's like it's something. I mean, like you said, it shouldn't be all of that. We should be getting paid more of what we actually earn. But I mean, right now, I don't think we made a single cent off of this channel. So I mean, and we've been doing it over a year, and it's like, and I want to get to some point where obviously you get enough followers or viewers, you can be like, okay, go to a business and get more money from that way, sponsorships.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm aiming, hopefully in the next year or so, is start talking to some people about that. But there are other ways, and the subscription thing I love, because like I said, I've been watching Twitch streamers and YouTubers for many years, and so it's like I know how that works for the people that actually earn a living doing YouTube and Twitch, and it's with people giving $5 a month, or more.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
of course with the gifts, like you said, here's super chats on YouTube or Twitch. What do they call on Twitch? Bits and
yeah,
stuff like that.
I don't really watch
That
Twitch
stuff.
that often.
Yeah, but it's people donating while you're live. It's like you can make a
love it.
living off of this stuff.
I
So
hate it. Well, it also plays into our culture a lot because drag queens work for
yeah,
tips
right.
most of the
Yeah,
time.
it makes.
Tips,
Yeah, I didn't think
absolutely.
about that.
Yeah.
But
It just feels
Yeah,
right.
it
It
it's
feels
the
natural.
same.
So
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
kind of combine that with what you're doing with the outside, like your shows.
Yeah.
and-
Do you
and
do you
putting
do
those
live
together.
promotions at your live shows?
Oh, we talk about
yeah.
it
All the time.
Every
All the
nonstop.
time.
Mhm.
I
All the
sometimes
time.
because I do other college shows with OSU,
Yeah.
so I have the auditorium just take out their phones and just
Yeah,
follow us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just wait until
Make
they're
them
done.
do it.
Absolutely.
So I liked because we're in a unique position to have, active following of people who just know us from the shows we
Yeah.
do, coupled with people who never met us online. So it's just
Mhm.
combining them together to
Yeah, make a
create
bigger community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
building a community too.
Yeah.
Building up a community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Helping it
'Cause
be seen.
That's something too I thought about. I mean, I should be better. I'm fairly good about knowing who's doing podcasts around in Oklahoma City, right?
Mhm.
And but I don't know. Are there any other podcasters that or have heard of that do anything like you do? I mean, with either queer or drag or anything like that.
soon. Certainly, there'll probably be 30 of them
Yeah.
after we finish up.
Oh,
Right.
well, yeah,
doing.
for sure.
We,
but-
But yeah, I think what I'm getting at is I think you're probably the only one that
Yeah.
in Oklahoma that's doing a queer focused podcast at all.
yeah, that's how she closed it after
Yeah.
every recording. She's like, baby, nobody's doing what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's
That's
absolutely
awesome.
correct.
Mhm.
We are what
She-
Nicki
yeah.
Minaj called the pink print.
The
so
pink, the pink print. Yeah.
it's like a blueprint, but
Okay.
for,
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So everyone's gonna come after you, like you were saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's awesome. Yeah.
I like
love
how
that.
we circle back a little bit. What did you said something about raising awareness for the community? And also, drag queens aren't this smart normally. I just want to make that very known. Don't be. This is an anomaly.
Yeah.
Well informed
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
articulate. Maybe no. These people out here on that in that street, they're
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
They're good people, but
Yeah.
there's not a
Yeah.
lot going on
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to listen to them talk. Don't give them a mic.
Hey, people love to ask. Can we be on your podcast? Are you well informed?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
Yeah,
'Cause
where are
we're-
your credentials?
We're very
Right.
political,
Yeah.
and India gets fact checked
All
4
the
or
time.
5 times.
Mhm.
All the time.
Even she talked about corn dogs at Sam's, and I said, Robert, pull up the fucking fact check sheet. And
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
never
She
guess.
pull up the nutrition chart.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like, oh, yeah.
y'all will never guess, but they don't sell corn dogs at the Sam's. She
Yeah.
made that up.
Oh, really?
She just lied to our guests.
So you guys
I was
like
about to go.
That-
I can't believe
Like,
you just
mm,
did that to
Welcome.
me.
Yeah, yeah. No, if you say
Misinformation?
it very confidently, then odds are
Yeah,
nobody
dude.
will second
I got
guess you.
corn dogs. the
yeah,
same.
for sure.
Yeah.
So do you guys do like? I mean, it sounds like you guys make sure you're not putting anything out that's incorrect. That you don't, you might say something. You're like, wait, was that correct? And you go back and check it before you put out the episode.
We have to
Yeah.
because I'm so vocal about just misinformation and how
Yes.
that's how we got to where we are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm not a hypocrite in everything that I do. I
Yeah.
cannot be the thing that I swear to fight against. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
It's got to be kind of tedious though to stay
Yeah.
on top of it all the time.
Certainly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
helps your integrity.
Mhm.
Right.
honestly.
Absolutely. Or there are times like even mid recording, it's like
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes of like awkward silence because we're like,
I'd be looking
Trying.
that up.
yeah, just like scrolling, like, okay, let's make sure. Okay, cool, yeah. And
Y'all
so,
are like,
yeah.
talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, just getting into the habit of like getting used to the like awkward silence, even though so that
Mhm.
we are, not having to give Robert a hard time by like trying to fill the empty space. I mean, it's like I'm gonna go in and cut. and
Yeah,
things like that.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But,
Because that's
Yeah.
what I was just thought of. But does Robert do all the editing and stuff like that for you guys?
Yeah, he's our
yes,
tech
bless
man.
his soul. Yes,
Bless
bless his
him.
soul.
He
That's
is
great.
over there.
Yeah.
We're
Get him
talking,
again.
Yeah.
we're talking about it. If
Yeah.
you want to say, hey, you come through, you're more than welcome. Again, like I said, just come and poke your head.
Yeah, he's been known to
anytime.
crawl under, so we might see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. Just a-
He gets low.
Yeah,
He will get
he will
low.
get low.
That's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, no, I wish I had a Robert because I got to do all that stuff.
God, me too.
And
Yeah,
you know what I
me
mean?
too.
Yeah,
Like,
she does.
Yeah.
but it's a lot of work trying to edit. I mean, editing is a nightmare when it gets into when you have to do a lot. That's why this is my new setup. I don't edit this anymore, really. I mean, I do the beginning and the end, and if I have to cut something out, I would go in and do it. But it's like mostly this is the episode because I'm just recording. I can change the cameras live if I want to.
Gee.
But it's pretty nice setup because and like I said, I had to because I used to edit each episode. I would have 4 cameras or whatever it was, and then go in and sync those all up, then cut them, and it took hours and
Yeah.
hours. So this is you got to figure out what works the best, or if you have other people that can help, that's always huge.
Yeah.
He's gonna teach us how to do it eventually.
Yeah.
and that's gonna
Yeah,
suck
yeah.
When he finally
Yeah.
convinces us to do it with
Yeah.
him.
Why would you do that? You're gonna get rid of your job.
Yeah, he's tired.
Yeah, you gotta be a part of the
he's like,
thing.
I'm
It's
going
going-
on vacation.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going on
What
vacation.
vacation?
He
Yeah.
listens to these episodes like 4
Oh,
times.
yeah.
He listens to them while we record it.
Mhm.
He edits it,
Yeah.
listens to it, or he listens to the raw. He listens to the raw audio.
Yeah.
Then he
Oh,
edits
wow.
it, and then we listen to the completed audio before we
Mhm.
publish it on
Mhm.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So he's a super fan, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is
Do
our-
you
Absolutely.
like the podcast? You can be honest.
I don't want
Yeah.
to look over my. Is he shaking his head no?
Yeah.
It's good that you didn't look.
Dude.
So how do you pick who goes on your pods then when you do have people?
Yeah. Do
We've
you
not
have a lot
done
of
guests yet.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We haven't.
Do you ever have a plan to maybe bring some people up or
I think so.
some
Mhm.
point?
Eventually, we want to have community guests and stuff.
Yes.
Kamala Harris, perhaps.
Yeah.
'Cause y'all know
Please.
the I've Had It podcast does the Nichols Hills are just rich ladies from Nichols Hills.
Oh, okay. I've heard
But they're
of
based in
them.
Oklahoma.
Mhm.
She was on their podcast.
Oh,
And
okay.
they do a lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I want to
Yeah.
collab with them real bad. But
Yeah.
they ignore us.
Yeah.
So they had Kamala Harris on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What did they talk about?
Well, they hate. They're very anti-Trump a lot. So they just talk about a lot of like their political views and like obviously supporting her. They're two self-made women, so they
Mhm.
they obviously wanted to see
Yeah,
that's
a
another
yeah.
strong succeed.
big
So
woman, yeah.
Wow.
it's just talking shit and having a good time.
You mind? What was it called again? I'm gonna look this up.
I've had it.
I've had it.
Okay, yeah, I
It's
haven't,
very
heard,
good.
I haven't heard of that. So, like I
Yeah.
was saying, I definitely don't do a great enough job with keeping up with the other podcasters in the city. Cause
Well, pause this. Let's go to Nichols Hills real quick.
Yeah.
let's see if we can
Let's
get
go.
'em.
They won't let us
I know
in.
where we live. Yeah, we know where they live. Yeah.
Do we seem mean to each other to y'all?
No.
Oh,
No.
people think that I hate her.
Oh no, you guys.
Oh, you talking
Wait.
about on your pod?
Just in general.
In this moment, I mean, just up front when you were talking about when you first met, but
Yeah.
I was looking at the analytics for our videos on TikTok
Mhm.
and how people found us. One of the search terms was podcast where one host hates the other, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's. I guess. I mean, maybe. I don't think you guys come
think
off
it's fun.
as
We just be
that at
rude
all. I
sometimes.
think
Yeah.
it's. I think that's kind of a normal thing, especially in the world of like comedians, where it's like everybody's just. Everybody thinks. I think all comedians hate each other because they're just always talking shit on each other.
and most
You know.
of us do.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, that's fair.
Which
No,
it
that's
may or
fair.
may not be true,
Yeah.
but what I like about comedy is that doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
as long as you have the respect for each other, I think that's where it can be. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you like each other or not, and you can still make fun of each other, and it's accepted because it's comedy.
Well, do you find that in the community as well? Like whenever you guys, I apologize for saying that. I keep saying you guys. It's just in my
That's- I don't
vernacular.
care.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're the one commenting on our TikTok lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look at these fellas.
I heard about that in the Christmas episode.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta have nothing to do. That's my thought.
Yeah.
There's nothing better you can do with
I mean,
your
every time
time
they
than go
comment,
hate
it shows it to
somebody.
more people. So
Yeah.
please.
Listen, like,
But
yeah, I
I
love a
appreciate what
keyboard.
what y'all are doing.
Just say
Yeah,
y'all.
y'all. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm
You
trying to go
and-
back to my roots.
Yeah, you skies. Yeah.
But no, I think it's something in the culture, or maybe you could tell me where it's almost like testing someone. Where
Yeah.
you go, hey, you're one of us. We're gonna talk some shit on you. We talk shit on each other
Mhm.
and have some fun and be a little rude and kind of because you can take it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You've been
Absolutely.
dealing with it your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
fair.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The biggest thing for like us, or at least for myself, what I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I don't like you, I'll be nice.
Yeah.
I will be very
Mhm.
nice to you. I'll be very nice. I'll be very cordial.
Mhm.
If I know you and if I love you,
Yeah.
you'll never know. You'll second
Yeah.
guess it all the time, and then she can tell you, are we friends now? Like no.
Y'all behind closed doors. The things she says to me, just evil. Just evil.
Even on the live, you don't say it on the live. You'll wait.
Oh yeah, I'll
You'll have
wait.
a- you'll have a
Yeah, I'll
thought.
wait.
Close
Yeah.
the laptop. Said,
No
"Listen
hard
here."
copies at all.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
she'll try to set me up in a trap in a text message. I'm like, that's nice.
NJ has a wonderful,
Yeah.
absolute
Yeah.
wonderful reputation as
Yeah.
being just a kind queen.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
because she won't talk shit on text.
Yeah.
She'll
Yeah.
call you and she'll
Yeah.
just say
No,
hateful things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
get her in person and said, okay, girl, now we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. Since the update on the iPhone, you can record conversations. So just be careful.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, now I'll never
I
do
stopped
it.
saying
Yeah.
crazy
I
shit
knew
on the
it.
phone
Yeah,
too.
I knew
so-
it.
I texted her something. I said, girl, guess who hit me up to be in this show? And she said, oh, wow. And then I see her in person and we finally talk about it.
Uh, I do want to ask you about producing shows and putting your shows together. What do you do when you walk into a venue, and what do you look for?
I like a vibe. I like a space to change, usually. Having, like,
Mm.
Yeah.
logistically, will it work here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And obviously, a budget. Some people want to do drag shows, but they want to do it for as cheap as possible or for free.
For free.
And it's
yeah.
like, we can't operate like that. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
On average, how much do you usually ask for just to put the show on?
it depends really. Some places you just I like there's a place in the city or in Norman I worked at, and I would do it for a percentage of bar sales. Just gotta really like the space, and I wanted to work with them. But some places, you do like a set fee.
like a set fee
Yeah.
based off of like your entertainers and
Mhm.
also the
Like,
crowd.
depending on how many people you're
Right,
having.
right,
Mhm.
absolutely.
In your
yeah.
promotions, you put the money in there for
Yeah.
promoting and
Right,
getting
for
it out
sure.
there.
It's like, okay, are we doing the promoting? Will you be doing the promoting?
Mhm.
Also, sound is the biggest thing.
So,
Shocker,
like
and
having an
there-
actual sound person.
yeah, and there have been many of times to where people are like, oh, you didn't bring your own sound system,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Even the system.
oh, that would have been lovely to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
They
you
did.
ask about that.
They did that to us at OSU. We
Yeah.
have it wasn't with OSU. It was for like an on campus organization, and they had us come do a show, and they went through me because I was going to school there. So I booked India because I take India everywhere, and I booked 2 other people. And she hates me. And so we get there, and they're like,
I gotta
so we're
work
gonna
with
do a little
her.
bit of drag, right? So we
Yeah.
get there, and they're like, okay, where are your speakers? And I said, I didn't bring any. That's not. We didn't plan on me providing sound. This
Right.
is your venue. And so I got a Bluetooth speaker in my car, and we're like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. You can just hear us click clacking and breathing heavy.
Yeah.
We ended up
Yeah.
doing a questionnaire panel.
Yeah, we did a
instead.
panel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was great. It was fun.
Did.
Work
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that was a great alternative because I've also been on the other side of that where I shown up, and this was actually at OU, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna perform in the common areas of one of the housing buildings." I was like, "Okay, cool." So get there, everything's nice. They have a huge setup for us, and there's like snacks and drinks and all things like that. And they're like, "All right, it's about time for like me to perform." And another entertainer comes back, and she was like, "Mom, it was Boots," and I was like, "Oh God, are they not tipping?" She was like, "No, they're tipping." She was like, "But you can hear everything." And I was like, "Okay, I don't think I'm gonna like that." And I go out and I'm trying to hear my song, and I was like, "Oh, can you guys turn up the speaker?" And they're like, "It's playing." And so I walk out, and they just have it playing from a laptop
Oh, no.
in this
There's a
big,
laptop
huge
speaker.
venue. So I'm just like walking around, and everyone's like, "You're so pretty," and I can hear myself. Thank you. Yeah,
Silent
thank you.
disco.
I can hear the crumple of the dollar as I grab it. I'm like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All performers have the hell gigs.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
No one is gonna get away from that.
Everybody goes through their cringe moment.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
You got to pay your dues.
Yeah.
But a lot with drag is ambiance and like feeling. Like you have to
For sure.
the space has to be there, the lights, the sound, it just has to
Yeah.
add to it. Or if not, I'm just
Yeah, it's
doing a jig to
it feels
a
awkward.
Nicki song.
Yeah.
Especially like in a college, like you said. I mean, it's just like that's got to feel very out of place.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
in a common
if-
area, which is pretty
yeah.
open.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could hear people getting their drinks.
Just people just
Yeah.
coming in, you know.
What the hell is going on in here?
Yeah,
on this thing?
the foosball table. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still playing pool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, okay.
What's one of your favorite venues to perform at? Like just anywhere, or maybe a
Let's hear.
memorable one that you've done.
Mine?
Yeah. or any-
I would say Rip to College Bar, honestly.
Put my hand out.
Where's that at?
College Bar is a bar that we would host Boom Roasted
okay.
at. We did
Is
it
that
at
in
2 different
Tulsa, you
bars.
said?
Stillwater.
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 sorry,
So we did it at 2 bars. We
Mhm.
did it at College Bar, and then it was Stonewall, which is now New Bar, or
It's College Bar
it's
now.
College Bar now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
They combined
yeah,
both
they
the bars
combined
into
both,
one.
both the bars
Oh,
into
okay.
one.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, College Bar it got wild
Mhm.
It was
for a second.
Especially in Stillwater. I've never really been to Stillwater. I mean, obviously, I've probably been to it, but I've never spent time there. And I imagine, because I've always been thought about it as a performer, like I'm always looking for venues to play music at, and it's like there's probably not very many in Stillwater, like places to go hang out at, right?
There
like
are
bars.
tons.
Yeah, there are
there are
tons.
tons.
Oh,
Not,
yeah.
not for us.
Yeah,
Not-
yeah,
not
yeah,
for
But
us,
yeah,
like
that's what I
us.
mean in general, right?
There
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to, we used to go out in drag after the shows.
Yeah.
And just,
We actually used
bar
to go
hop.
before.
And
Mhm.
before too. Yeah.
Before. Yeah,
But-
for
yeah.
sure.
It's not really
yeah.
safe anymore to do that.
But yeah, it being a college town, obviously, there's definitely people that want to do things there, so that makes sense.
There's a whole strip of
yeah,
10
okay.
bars or
cool.
so.
Yeah.
And the one College Bar was on the strip, so it was
Mhm.
always just wall to wall packed of just
Right, all
college
the
kids
kids.
just
Yeah.
there for a good time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how do you, when you go to promote, how do you find these pockets of community to get to your shows? Who would be interested?
Good question. I think we try to collect from on our social medias, kind of collect people
Yes.
from each show we're at,
Mhm.
Oh, I
and
see.
kind of build our own little following.
Yeah.
So you're planting
Or-
a seed, and then you'll come
Mm.
back.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you meet a whole new community at a new venue who are just loyal to that venue.
Mhm.
So I guess it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. Any part of putting on a show, the difficult part is getting people there,
Oh
Yeah.
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 and then
Oh,
getting people to
absolutely.
be aware.
Mhm.
In a place like Oklahoma, I mean, that's kind of a difficult thing to do either way, right?
Mhm.
Because you're, I mean, surrounded by people who are really interested ultimately. So when you go to, like, say, do you do paid ads on Facebook, or do you just go to groups? or
How do you?
I usually just post about it.
Yeah.
Because in Stillwater
your
we have
own.
our
Mhm.
own. I have my own, following who people who they just
Mhm.
come every month. They know we're at the third weekend
Yeah.
of every single month.
It's like you don't have
and-
to
Yeah.
try too hard anymore.
Right.
for
Right.
that.
I don't have to
Right.
post about it. They'll just know what it is.
Yeah.
I'll still post, but
Mhm.
you wouldn't have to.
You don't have to
Here
pay.
in the city,
Mhm.
do y'all do targeted ads? For your show?
So sometimes it does help to do the paid advertisement because it outsources your um flyer, your ad outside of your friend
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
But I can say the best way to do it is just to be annoying about it and just plant seeds anywhere and everywhere as much as you can. Whether it be, all social media or leaving flyers just around from bar to bar,
Random.
because you never know who might pick it up and be like, oh, what's going on?
Mhm.
And then even going to more like for us queer friendly
Mhm.
places like the Plaza District or
Mhm.
something like that. I'm like, hey, can we post this flyer here? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then that gets you a whole new crowd of people because
Yeah.
they probably don't know what's going on outside of that,
Yeah.
that
Their
area.
place, yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot, but
Mhm.
sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But it's worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
Sometimes the girls act a fool.
sometimes they
because
do.
You're on a show, booked on a show, and they're like, "You need to post more.
Oh
Are you
yeah.
gonna come to my house and choke me? They pay me for
No,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to post about it. You're not posting about it every single day. You pay me $25. No.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That is
Act
not.
like I'm
yeah.
social media manager. For
Mhm.
them.
Yeah,
But then when
absolutely.
they're on your show, you're not gonna go post.
But
that.
most bars kind of like expect that. They're like, okay, cool. You were supposed to be promoting.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
like, you need to bring people to my bar. And so they kind of like get a little iffy on it when it's like not doing so great, I guess,
Mhm.
because they're expecting you to. I mean, now that because drag is so saturated, anytime
Mhm.
that the word, drag show, drag brunch or whatever, people are
Mhm.
just automatically going to assume there's going to be a wave of people to come
Yeah.
in. And sometimes that is the case, but also sometimes it's not. And then it just like
Mhm.
puts a bad taste.
well, it
kind
takes a
of in
while to
their
build
mouth.
an audience.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but I'd say about
Absolutely.
2 to 3 months. The first month is planting the seeds. and
Yeah.
The other one is trying to
You gotta
hopefully
keep-
being
Yeah,
consistent.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I really like that, the guerrilla aspect of just going out and
Mhm.
finding your place.
Doing the
Um,
Mhm.
that's something we used to be back, when we played music 20 years ago almost. We would do the flyers and go and print flyers and go hand out flyers, put posters everywhere, and like you're
Mhm.
saying, different bars. And it's like nobody does that anymore. Very
Right.
rarely.
Right.
I mean, but I think it still works. I think that that's still one of the things that you can do. That's obviously you got to pay for the printing or whatever, but that's not that much. I mean, if
Yeah.
you can get a big stack of flyers and you actually go and get rid of them all, then it's probably worth it.
Yes, absolutely.
My thing was I'd print them and then not actually hand them out or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you're just wasting money.
I
so.
love what I try to do is go talk to someone there, especially an employee. I feel like employees care,
Yeah.
or if you can get the employees on your side
Mhm.
versus the
Mhm.
owner, because the owner hears it all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Sure, yeah.
But if you can get up there and ask them, hey, do you think you'd be interested in this? Do you think anybody here would be? You know your customers better than your owner does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
because they do. They're in their faces. The owner's like, oh, let me
Mhm.
count this money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you get to them and ask them what their demographics are and what you're working with, a lot of the time you can come to the owner with kind of equipped with some information, and then make
Yeah.
yourself memorable.
Right.
Mhm.
And then, hey, can I put this up? Can I
Right.
put some down here? Do you think you'll talk about it? Hey, can you tag us on your stories when I tag you?
Yeah.
Like little things like that, where I think the flyers are important for getting in the door and just talking to people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just because like back in the day when we first started Boom Roasted, we would do what they call street walking.
Mhm.
And so we would show up early, and full geesh, and then be like, all right, let's go walk the strip. And we would go, and we knew like we took advantage of people gawking at
Yeah.
us, and so we would walk from bar to bar. Literally
Mhm.
walking in, either taking a shot or just hanging out, meeting the employees or meeting
Mhm.
people. And be like, hey, there's a drag show going on,
Yeah,
because we knew
just-
that people didn't know, and we
Mhm.
knew that they weren't our target audience, but they were an audience in general. And we also knew that they weren't going to see our flyers if
Mhm.
we were to share them on social media. So
Right.
that in itself was like a very huge, I guess, factor into like making College Bar as big as what it
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
what it is just because at first it was very slow, but
Right,
then once
took a
everybody
while.
once you said like once we got all the employees on the strip
Mhm.
involved, we were getting tagged when we would go out after the bar, like after the show,
Yeah.
like or they would be telling people like, "Hey, if you need something to do, there's a drag show right up the street," and then they would just send people our way, and then it would just be wall to wall, standing room only, like, and then it it just worked,
Nice.
Mhm.
just worked. So yeah,
So the character and being outgoing lends
Yeah.
very well to that aspect,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
Would
was
you
gonna-
normally be like that? Do you think?
I don't.
Are you very outgoing without having to do a show?
I am
Are you?
Well,
unfortunately.
yeah, but Indy's always in drag. I go to her job sometimes and I see she's wearing a wizard sleeve.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah, my little bell sleeves.
She's wearing
Yeah.
a Skechers shape up and a wizard
Yeah.
sleeve cape. Just and I'm
Stoned, obviously.
to hear it work,
Yeah,
yeah, that's all
yeah,
I had to
yeah,
tell.
stoned.
It's
And
feeling good. I like
obviously
that.
I'm a ham anytime, but
Mhm.
I don't. I'm not as. I'm not gonna come get you in my. In like
Yeah,
be as I guess
Mhm.
forceful as confident.
I think it's something that's interesting that made me think about that. Obviously, you're going out dressed in drag, so like you're saying, people just look at you and see you. But I think that could work for anyone, even if you're just a comedian. As long as if you're wearing something outrageous of any type, people are
Mhm.
like you said, people are gonna be like, "What's this person's deal?" you know,
Right.
and they're gonna, and then that's how you get in. It's
That
like,
is
you know what I
true.
mean? Like,
That's
I
also
think
how you
that
find
could-
your ilk.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good tip. I think for someone.
I can attest to it. I was at we were there at that roast show, and there was
Mhm.
a man with the biggest thermos I ever saw.
Oh,
And you know what I
okay.
did? I focused on the man with the big thermos.
Yeah.
And I guess he's a comedian.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Oh, you're talking about Ian Kennedy?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I couldn't possibly
Yeah.
tell you, but I know he had a big thermos. If I
Yeah.
saw his thermos, I could tell you.
Was this his thermos?
Yeah.
No, baby. He was this tall. He was
Yeah.
drinking from it. He's in a bar. I said, I don't think you can have that in here. He didn't like that very much.
Is that when you were up there? You roasted him a little bit.
No, I think he had already left by
Yeah.
then.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't.
Uh,
He didn't seem to vibe with my brand.
But no, he does carry that bottle around. I don't know why
I
he
don't know
does
what's
that.
in it. Better be
He's-
water.
It's water. He's very healthy.
He's
He goes under the moniker. He's funny. He's very funny. But he goes under the moniker of Big Dick. So it's
Oh,
Ian
that somebody
Big
did say
Dick.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a
And,
big
uh,
thermos.
That's why I said,
for a
"Oh, it's big
dick.
thermos."
I-
Yeah,
You're a fan.
it's-
You're a fan of that.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
Can we get him here.
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
introduce you. The
Thank you.
let's see, picking venues, doing the live pods. The live pods is something I'm interested in. Setting up a live pod and getting people out to it. Do you have venues
Yeah.
that I know I'm going to go to do this at this venue because it's going to be received well, but do people get too rowdy? How do you control all that?
We've only done one so far.
Oh, okay.
And we're hoping to get started after the first of the year, get back to
Right.
our schedule. We did it at Angry Scotsman.
Mhm.
Oh,
They have like a
nice.
cute stage. We brought our own sound and everything,
Mhm.
and for the most part, everybody was there. People who stuck around were there to listen to us, so we didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, they
Um,
weren't being loud or whatever.
But even at a regular show, people get rowdy sometimes. You
Mhm.
gotta
Oh yeah,
gotta
you gotta
catch 'em
you
back
know,
in.
Yeah, you gotta reel them back in.
How do you do that?
people's attention spans are getting short.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
sometimes
Mhm.
it's just moving on to the next thing because I'll do
Yeah.
stand up, and if they're at a drag show, they enjoy the stand up portion of it, but also you can't do too much because then they're the drag's not happening, so I'm gonna get a drink or something,
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of giving them, and then also you can't have 8 people do drag in a row either. You've got
Yeah.
you got to break it up and then just keep giving them new nuggets of things
Yeah.
to latch onto because their attention is just so.
Yeah.
I guess with social media, it's just so short.
Mhm.
So it's just giving them things to gawk at and enjoy
Yeah.
without dragging it on for far too long.
Well, and also like multiple things. Like we, in terms of like shows and things like that, we try to book people that of different talents,
Mhm.
niches.
Yeah.
Because if you book 10 dancing queens, then
yeah,
it's going to
same
it's
thing
going to be
over
the
and
same. It's
over.
going to be very monotone.
Mhm.
Same thing as like if you book a show of all comedians, it's like if they're not doing different styles of comedy,
Yeah.
then it just everything is going to fall flat.
Mhm.
And then when you do that, we try to layer them in terms of like giving the audience breaks or
Mhm.
something to look forward to,
Try to
things
get
like that.
Something for each.
Right.
Everyone.
Yeah, try to put their fan favorite at the end so that
Yeah.
way they stick around a little bit
Mhm.
longer for for the show, which in the end helps the bar make more money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So how do you pick your performers? So you have different talents, different things you can do to keep their attention. You're trying to move pace in the show because I mean it's kind of the environment that we're in. We have to do that in comedy too. I feel like sets have to be shorter now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
unless you're killer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, they need that dopamine hit.
I
That
always
next
I
change.
hate that with comedy when
Yeah.
they shine the light at you as if I'm not up here just fucking killing it. Like, everybody else, you can give them the light, but don't you dare shine that light on me. We're having a good ass
I'm
time.
gonna go ahead and take note of that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so. How do you pick your team?
People I like, people that I respect, and that I enjoy what they do. Some people, obviously sometimes I just book people who ask and give them chance, or people that I've worked with before. But for the most part, like my core group of people, I want people that I respect, that I know work hard, and that I value what they do.
So how do they bring the variety for you then?
I do comedy at all my shows. I host. I like that. If I never had to dance again, so we're working towards it. We're getting there. I could just do comedy full time instead of having to do classical drag number. India does dance. That's how she entertains us through dance.
And you love it. That's your.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah. Although unfortunately, I'm gonna have to start slowing down. I had an injury, so that was.
Oh no.
Yeah. I had a really bad sprained ankle. Like it was in a boot for like a week and a half.
Oh wow.
And so
no,
no, that is my niche. Like even sometimes that outer body experience, sometimes I don't have any control over it. I'm like, all right, well, we're here.
Is there any other?
This is my favorite part of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to throw it back.
Yeah.
It's funny because I met a girl. I was in St. Louis doing a show, and I met a girl, and she was a new queen, and her name was Summer the Stallion, and she obviously themed after Megan Thee Stallion, which is India. She loves the Megan Thee Stallion song.
Yeah,
I said,
twin.
I know
Spirit
a
animal.
queen back home that would just be your mama. She would just love on you and just like mentor you. And then we were doing the show, and she goes out and is like, I don't know about doing this song. I'm afraid I'm gonna go out there and shake too much ass. And I thought about if Indya Naomi heard you say too much ass shaking, she would absolutely slap the hell out of you. There's never too much ass.
I was gonna ask you, was there any other performance that you've done or wanted to do, like comedy or music or anything like that, besides drag and dance?
Me, I've been getting a lot into theater.
Okay, yeah, like acting.
Yeah, so one of the bars that I work at, we do dinner shows, and so I actually was fortunate enough to be cast in a few of those. One of them being Silence of the Lambs, the musical parody of
Cool.
Hannibal Lecter and Silence of the Lambs, and then Jurassic Park, which was Jurassic Park, but the dinosaurs were drag queens.
Yeah.
So it was quite hilarious.
Yeah,
And I played a
awesome.
tricerabottom. So yeah, it was pretty great. It was fun. Both of those were really fun. So I'm like starting to get into that.
Yeah. Sketch stuff,
sketch stuff.
Because we were talking about you did sketch comedy with our friends, the Martin Duprass, that put on that. I loved that. Was such a great show. But that's like, is that something you were interested in doing more of?
So I like improv. I did improv in high school and stuff, but I haven't picked it back up. But it was kind of, I've never done it in drag or in my adult life, so it was really outside of my comfort zone, outside of the scope of what I normally do. But it was actually really fun. It's hard to do it in drag because changing is just a little bit more difficult than throwing on a coat. There's a lot more layers to it, but it was really fun. I had a lot of fun. Would I do it again? Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
What tips or a way in would you give someone who's just starting?
Did you drag?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't
Oh.
start.
Don't. It's a
That
money
sounds like
pit.
Yeah,
It is a money
You just
pit.
want to pay your mortgage? Don't do
Don't
that.
you won't? Yeah, you won't.
There's always just one more wig or one more pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
honestly.
sounds like you don't want competition. That's what it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Maybe where? Competition
Yeah, where?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're
once
right.
again,
That
we're
was
the
my
only ones that are doing this type of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Y'all stay tuned. All the content coming out all of a sudden.
bad.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
No, I think it lends well to people just to play and have fun. If you
Yes.
wanted to do it for fun. Just
Yes.
The hardest part is just jumping in.
Starting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where would you reach out? Where would you have them go?
Well, India does an open talent night on Monday.
I do. I host one at the park, and it's starting to be taken over by drag babies, which is fine and it's great, and I love that. However, it is an open talent that's just open to any sort of talent, like stand-up comics, musicians,
great.
dancers, whatever. We just invite everybody. It just happens that the best way to start or to be noticed in the drag world is to start at an open talent. And most times, open talent is where all of like the show hosts or the show directors will go and scope out.
Yeah.
It's like a fantasy league almost.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they'll go and they'll look and say, oh, okay, that I like that person. I like
Yeah.
their performance. I'm gonna
Put
reach
them
out
on,
to them. Yeah.
I mean, that's
And so
very
that's
similar.
the best way.
Very
the
similar
park,
to
you said?
Yeah, the
Where's that
park.
located?
It's on the Strip. It's on 39th Street. It's
Okay.
called. It used to be the Apothecary.
And before that,
It was called the Park.
Yeah,
So
I think
yeah.
I'd been to it when it was a park many years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
so-
yeah. Which is great because like the owners now were regulars of the
Okay,
previous
so,
park,
yeah.
and so they bought it and then
Try to
reopened it. Yeah, to bring it
bring
back.
it back to
yeah.
the old. Yeah. That's
What
great.
time?
It normally starts at 10.
Depends on when
Yeah.
she gets there.
Yeah, okay. That's also very true. That's
Sometimes
also
we're
very
recording
true.
And I'm like, well, it will start. She's at our studio in Norman. And she'll leave, and I said, well, I guess I'm gonna be late because she's got a 30-minute drive.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, it starts when I get there, but
But
I try to
it's-
be.
It
very
sounds like
punctual.
very similar to stand-up comedy. I mean, you can't really start doing stand-up comedy unless you start going to an open mic and start doing it there. I mean,
Right.
there's really no other alternative to get started
Yeah.
with that.
It's that easy and hard. at the
Yeah.
same
Yes,
time.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Is there any other open talent places where people could go?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Frankie's does one on the first
Mhm.
Tuesdays of every month. The Boom does one every Thursday.
Mhm.
I think that's in the OKC metro. And then Sundays, Club Majestic, kind of has like an open talent
Mhm.
thing on Sunday evenings.
So you could build an act.
Oh yeah.
You
yeah.
could. Oh yeah.
Doing,
Oh
like, and-
absolutely.
and do
Absolutely.
Similar to stand-up comedy, they go to the mics every week or multiple times a week to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Because
Uh,
I guess I mean similarly too, staying on that is like that's the only way to get better, right? Is to keep doing
Is
it.
to keep doing
and
it,
you have to
yeah.
do it live. You can't really practice at home. I mean, you can't. You can probably work on some moves or whatever and practice with the song. So it's
Mhm.
probably similar. I mean, because I always think about this with music is like I can practice with a musician. You can practice in your bedroom or whatever, and get better. And then it is a little bit different, obviously, when you're on stage. But
Mhm.
comedy is like you can't do that at all. You have to
Right.
be on
You need
stage.
the energy
Yeah,
of
yeah,
people.
it's
You
the-
need
yeah.
them to
Mhm.
react.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
do you feel the same?
React.
Do you feel the same too? With
For
the
drag?
for drag and performance in that way, the energy gives
Mhm.
you more.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You
absolutely.
can do the same number two
Yeah.
places, and one place
Yeah.
could care if you lived or died.
Right.
The other place is living for it, and you really feed off of it. It just
Yeah.
makes you feel better, and everybody's having a better time because of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been places and nobody's there. People are just there not for the show. They're just there because it's open,
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what am I doing this for? If not to
Yeah.
entertain you.
Right.
And they're like, their backs are turned or whatever, and like they're just there to drink.
Yeah.
Or it's a bar that's they didn't know it was going on, but they just were there and then I gotta finish the drinks so they can leave.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with straight bars. But you really need to
yeah.
have their audience is just as much a part of it as you are.
Mhm.
Really,
Oh, absolutely.
If they're having fun, we have fun. If we're having fun, they're having
Mhm.
fun.
Absolutely. There are plenty of times, and
Yeah.
Robert would even tell you to where like sometimes at some of the venues like the audience is just not giving,
Mhm.
and so I'm like, I already changed my second set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to change
Switch
it.
it
Yeah,
up.
we got to switch it up because Plan A is not working.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what do you
Can't do
do
a
to get them? Is there a way that you try to reach out or at least see if you can get
Maybe
them to be a part?
taking a certain
Sometimes
song.
physically grabbing them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a part
Um,
of the game too. Is you're very physical in your
Mhm.
performances. You're very interactive with the crowd.
Yeah,
Right.
you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can be, and also it just kind of you have to be able to read the crowd.
Mhm.
Because sometimes it's
Yeah.
like
Some girls don't.
some girls don't. Some guys are like, I'm just here because my girlfriend
Yeah.
dragged me. Please don't look at me.
Mhm.
That kind of thing. But it's just like reading and kind of testing the waters.
Mhm.
Odds are, if I'm like making my way towards someone and then they start to
Yeah.
Yeah.
back up, I'm
It's
like,
probably-
okay,
yeah.
I'll move on. I'll move on. Yeah, I'll move on. I got you.
You gotta
Mhm.
read that
Heard.
body language.
Yeah, heard. Loud and clear. Yeah, absolutely.
Comedy, I think, is like that too. I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of where you start messing with somebody, and you see them.
Yeah.
Up. All right, not you.
Yeah.
Let's go over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to ask real quick. What is some of the similarities and differences, or what between doing drag and doing stand-up comedy for you, and like what is there anything from one that you've learned and applied to the other?
For me, I think it's kind of the same.
Yeah,
Honestly,
very similar.
I didn't do stand up because I didn't think I could for a long time. It's just not something that I did. Then I realized I'm literally doing it every single time that I
She's
host my
enjoying it.
shows.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're
I
on
do my-
stage talking to a microphone.
Yeah, I do an entire set after my
Mhm.
number for everybody,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, that's literally the same thing. It's just not pre-written. I do a lot of
Mhm.
crowd work.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of
Love
on the
crowd
fly,
work.
a lot of
Mhm.
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I was like, it's not different than me doing it
Mhm.
with a structure. So then I did a show. My first show was like maybe a year and a half ago. My
Mm.
first stand-up show with Ray. Do y'all know Ray?
Yeah.
Ray
Yeah.
Burst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love her. She is great.
Mhm.
I did a show her at a bar at a bar I was working at, Equity, and
Mhm.
so it was my first time doing it, and I loved it. And I was like, this is literally just what I do
yeah.
at my shows, just without having to dance in between it. So I was hooked. And since then, I've been trying to, put myself in the community as much as I can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great.
What's your writing process? Just the
I-
crowd work? Do you write anything down?
For crowd work,
Well, no. I do want to get into the crowd work
Okay.
aspect, but whenever you preconceive things where you bring it up to this stage, how are you writing it in that way?
sometimes I wake up and I said, that was funny, girl. And I
Mhm.
write it down in my notes,
Mhm.
or I'll make notes of things that I think of, and then I'll sit down and I'll put it in I really like a story-esque
Mhm.
where everything flows into itself.
Flows,
It's not
yeah.
like
Yeah.
story stop, something irrelevant. I like to,
Mhm. Connect
keep them, the weave, as a fascist would call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just really I sit down. Sometimes I'll download custom content on The Sims while I type,
Mhm.
as you do. 'Cause you gotta wait 10 seconds every time
Yeah.
you download something.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the premium pass. And then I'll just write it down.
talking
I'll
about Sims
record it.
4?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
The Sims 4.
Mhm.
It's a solid game.
I have a basement.
The club.
You know the club.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a basement
Yeah.
full of men that I've trapped prisoner.
Oh.
But it's like an entire
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
They each have their own houses decorated like the outside. There's a club. There's a library. It's fun. They can't leave.
Yeah.
It's what you want in
Yeah.
the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part. I
They
made a
robbed
lot of
me.
good families. But no, I love that. I love the writing process and then the crowd work. What do you look for when you're working somebody, or what's your material that you usually try to drive people to?
Sometimes I think I'm possessed
Do you
by
really?
the devil himself. I just sometimes 'cause it just comes out of
Mhm.
I kind of just trust myself. I go out there and I'm like, well, I guess I'm still talented. I hope.
Yeah.
Because you go out there and
You just
If
do what
not,
you
I
do,
I
and
will
then
fail.
see
Yeah.
what people will think of it. I guess.
yeah, I just
Mhm.
rely on my instincts, and you know, I like to find people who are having fun and who look
Mhm.
like they can handle it. And sometimes people can't handle it, and you just
Yeah.
have to. Well, okay, fuck you, move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Because it's all fun. I really like enjoying an older woman because usually they're just there for a good time.
Oh,
and they're
always.
Just, like last night, we
Always.
had a woman. She's on her 8th husband, and
Good for
she was
her.
just there, just kikiing and cutting up, and she handled it, and she was just really getting into it, and that really helps because everybody's laughing. She's
Mhm.
laughing. We're laughing together. We're not laughing at you. We're all laughing
Mhm.
together at just funny situations. So I enjoy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that. No, I feel the same way whenever I do, like you said, the trust thing. I think that's a big part of it. Once you've done it a few times, you go, I can do this. But it is going, let's go see. And
Yeah.
then you get up there and it feels organic. It feels almost, and I do, this is I like to call it the muse. You pay honor, tribute to the muse all week by writing and taking care of what you're supposed to and treating
Mhm.
people right. And then you get on stage and the muse goes, you did good. Go. And then
Yeah.
Nice.
gives you the gift of
Yeah.
being able to talk shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord, are we blessed?
Yeah.
I was also to know your limits as well. Sometimes you can't. I was doing a show at OU. Oh, another OU story.
Yeah.
And a girl, I was there early. I like to be there early.
Mhm.
She was like 30 minutes late. She rolled up, not ready. And she's not going to hear this because she don't have social media, probably. She's probably banned. But she rolled up. She also moved away. She got here. She got there 30 minutes late. She wasn't ready. And she's like, okay, well, we'll start soon. I'm like, well, girl, what are you doing? And then she's like, well, can you go and she goes out there unready and is like, hey, everybody, we're going to start in like 15 minutes, 'cause she's still got to get ready. So that's like 45 minutes after the scheduled start time.
Mhm.
So then she's like, well, still not ready after 15 minutes. And then she said, well, Olivia, can you go out there and banter and host? At that point, No, mama, I cannot.
Yeah.
There is nothing that I can. I said, there's nothing I can do that will save the situation. I'll go out there and joke with them after you go out there and apologize. But there is nothing that I could have done to go out there and alleviate the tension of being 45 minutes late to this gig you're just sitting in an auditorium waiting for. And that's just knowing your limits, because like then it's just awkward, you know.
Well, I've been to comedy shows where they made people wait for that same amount of time, and it will completely kill a show.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because they're like, I'm trying to go eat.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
The hungry people are mad people. I like that. I like that you were like, I'm not sacrificing my artistry so you can.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were late.
Because I would have been on time and they would have been eating it up. And then they did eat it up once
Yeah.
you went out there and they realized, oh, you're the fool. Then I go out there and said hello.
Yeah.
And then I did what I do best, which is entertain them.
Yeah.
But y'all know whose fault it is. It's not mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So doing drag, what are some of the difficulties, and when did you guys start again? Sorry, when did
Yeah,
y'all?
a little over 4 years.
4
yeah.
or 5 years.
How has it changed? Is it more accepted now?
It's mainstream, definitely.
Yeah,
Drag
yeah.
Race has really
Yeah,
hit
the
the
show,
mainstream.
right? Yeah.
Very saturated. It's
Yeah.
not underground.
Mhm.
What do you mean by saturated? Is there too many
A lot of
people not in
people,
There's
yeah.
positions?
there's a lot of there's a lot of drag queens. There are
Yeah?
a lot of
There are.
performers. They used to be like, few and far between. They used to have
Mhm.
like
People used to have shame.
yeah, no, very that. I was like the best. I say all the time the one thing that we need in the drag community is birth control. There's so many queens just
Yeah.
adopting little
Yeah.
queer kids and being like, put this wig on. I'm like, don't just let them live. Please just let them live. So yeah, it is like very like saturated, and Drag Race did have something to do with that.
Mhm.
It wasn't like Drag Race invented it. It was just
Right.
it brought awareness to it, and now I like to also blame middle-aged white women being like, that's so sickening. That looks so good, and then they just
Yeah.
adopting it and loving it, and then
Mhm.
pouring into it, which is great.
Yeah.
But now everybody and their mom wants to be a drag queen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think something about that show. I'm sure what happened was like it showed a lot of young queer kids around the world, around the United States,
Absolutely.
that you can do this. Like, oh, I can do that too, because you see it. And it's like-
Yeah,
whereas they may have never even seen a drag show or gotten close to one.
right.
Depending on where you
Absolutely.
grow up.
It also changes your expectations a lot. 'Cause
A
they watch the
lot.
show
Yeah.
and they see these girls spend thousands of dollars to be on the
Mhm.
show for TV. And they come to the gig and they're like, well, why aren't you wearing, a
Yeah,
headpiece, or
right. Absolutely.
why aren't you changing your wig every single number?
Yeah.
I do,
Yeah.
but some girls don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they kind of change the expectation. They're expecting more than you could ever possibly get
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
$50 bar tab.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
at
they're
a bar.
they're expecting Drag Race
Mm,
Live, which
right.
has like all the pyrotechnics, the backup dancers, the
Yeah.
the fancy costumes, the big huge feathers, pink flying around the
Yeah.
the stadium.
With pink.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
it's like
But the
So-
goal
Nope,
is
that's
one
Bob.
day. Right?
Yeah.
The goal is one day to have that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Make it happen.
Yeah,
I was just gonna
yeah.
say, I was thinking that same thing, but it's like, does that even happen ever anywhere else? It's like, is there drag queens that put on shows like that
Yes.
anywhere?
Give
I
us some
guess.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dallas.
Okay. Yeah.
Dallas, New York.
Mhm. Yeah,
They're
some
like,
big cities.
Yeah,
I'm
they
sure.
the big cities like they're Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas
Well, I
showgirls
was thinking
are
about Vegas.
crazy.
Vegas is like, but that's a whole different world. I
That's
mean,
that's their own country. Yeah.
I mean, but
Vegas.
every show there is like a big drag show, and it doesn't have anything to do with drag. It's just all
Yeah,
The,
it's all
What
flash.
is it? The show, the big, what is it called? The dancers and stuff like that.
So you think you can dance?
No, I
A
was
little
just
Cirque du
thinking of-
Soleil.
yeah, stuff like
Yeah,
that. But yeah,
yeah.
I can't think of what I was thinking of. but-
Paranormal Cirque too.
but so it's all like that for sure. But yeah, so that's it. It's something to try to aim for.
Right,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
One day we'll get there.
Oh yeah, we got plans.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
big plans.
Yeah.
The problem is we got to get a budget first.
Yeah.
We need,
Yeah.
some, we need
that's
TikTok
always
to
the
stop taking
thing.
50%.
Yeah.
If we can afford
Yeah.
pyrotechnics.
Let me see here. We talked about.
I was
producing
kind of
shows.
curious. I was gonna jump into something about the podcast. Obviously, I've listened to a couple of episodes, but you've been doing it for a while now, right? Since August, or when did it start the podcast?
Can I look over my shoulder? Hold on.
Yeah. August.
Oh yeah, August.
Yeah, August. Yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
I'll cut that
I
out.
was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
it's been a little while because I was thinking I didn't know if it was like newer than that, but I mean that's quite a while, and you do
No,
it every
it's
week.
It's super new.
But it's still like, but to even keep it something going for most people will start a podcast and they do 2 episodes and that's
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
but you guys do it every week, right? Have
Yes.
you?
Mhm.
And it's been consistent since then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we never missed an upload day.
That's impressive for sure because we've almost done that. I did miss one Friday of a release, but. Other than that, but I think that's a key to being
Right.
successful is you have to be consistent to build
Yeah.
that following and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But on the podcast, obviously, each episode, the show is called Queen Versus, so it's Queen versus a
Something,
subject,
yeah.
right? So what have been like some of your favorite topics that you've covered, and then like what are some that you want to do if you want to talk about any of that, like future ideas that you've had for the show?
I think our most listened to
Mhm.
was our one with it was about Ryan Walters. That's our
Yeah.
most.
Yeah, that's our
Was
most
that the
listened
Oklahoma part 2?
That was yeah.
Okay, so I listened to the
yeah.
first one.
No,
but-
we did one specifically about
Oh,
Ryan
okay.
Yeah, we did.
Walters.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah,
it
Queen versus Trump's goodest boy.
Okay.
yeah. Trump's goodest boy.
That's one
Yep.
that's been downloaded the most.
Mhm.
I want to do
Mhm.
one about the service industry, but I have so
Yes,
much to say that I
absolutely.
want to wait
Same.
until it's like
Yeah,
I want
until you
to.
have it all together.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a
that's a
lot
good.
to
That's
say.
a good idea.
Yeah.
for
You work
sure.
for the service industry?
I did for a long time. That was
Mhm.
my first job was retail. Then I
Mhm.
switched over to being a server, and I did that
Mhm.
until recently.
Mhm.
I was a pastry chef for a little while,
Oh.
so that was nice to get away from serving tables. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what I did for the most part. And
Yeah.
you've done.
I've
and
done
it isn't
all
everything.
sorts of
Yeah.
jobs. All sorts of
All
jobs.
kinds
Because
of
we used to not be.
restaurants.
We didn't see each other as often as we do now. You know,
Mhm.
every time I see her, she had a new hobby or a new
Yeah.
gig or
Oh,
something.
absolutely.
She was an
That's
aerial
awesome.
artist for a little while.
Yeah.
Then she was doing real estate, and then she
Mhm.
was a physical therapist.
I was an office assistant for a
But she
physical
was still
therapist.
touching people.
Yeah, well,
was a-
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Does that hurt?
Yeah, yeah,
Not there.
yeah.
No, but
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so I was just curious. 'Cause I love the idea of just having topics, especially from your perspective too, right? And it's just
Mhm.
like I said, no one's doing that. Or you said that no one else is doing that, especially from
you can say it too. Sure, go ahead.
from a perspective, from y'all's perspective. So
Right.
that's great. So
How do
yeah.
you pick your topics? How do you pick what you're gonna do? How'd you pick Ryan Walters? Is just
I
something
hate him.
that
I
She,
hate him.
her
Yeah.
blood boils
Mhm.
anytime
Yeah.
that
I mean,
Ryan.
I'm a
and-
people person. I can get along with the devil himself, but I
Yeah.
hate that motherfucker.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not great.
yeah.
He's not a
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
person.
yeah. Or
So,
anything about a Republican. She's like, let's do it. I have so
Yeah.
much to say.
Well, it also just
Yeah.
lends well to virality as well. People
Yeah, absolutely.
like
Yeah.
things that are controversial.
Yeah,
so
controversial.
people want to
And
listen to
especially with that, because I think that's some place that people that are frustrated with his choices and all that stuff, it's like you want somewhere where to get that out, and it's like listening to y'all's episode helps alleviate that stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just me.
People
Yeah, yeah. It's all
Norman.
these two crazy people.
Yeah.
It's two
so-
lunatics
Yeah.
in Norman.
Yeah, these two
Of
gentlemen.
course.
Yeah, yeah.
How do we pick our topics? Sometimes we just blurt stuff out until we find
Mhm.
something we like.
Absolutely.
Do
Yeah.
you have like a list or kind of a short list or something that's like, oh, you're gonna hit these eventually, like you said, the service
Oh yeah.
industry.
Yeah, we started off.
Yeah.
We started off with one, and then it just like
Mhm.
went so fast.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah. you gotta start
okay.
thinking
What
of
are we doing
new-
next? Yeah, yeah.
that's
What
the
are we gonna do
trick, for
next?
Sure. Especially doing it every week, they go pretty quick. I feel.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's also like just trying to incorporate that. And it's like, okay, how can we make an episode out of this
Yeah.
topic? Like, what are
Mhm.
some things, some topics that we want to bring up? What are the subtopics? And we have to make sure that if we can create subtopics off of that,
Mhm.
then okay, we can make that into an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rather
It
than
has
just being
enough.
like, yeah, then just like,
Mhm.
a single word, picking a single word, and be like, I
Right.
don't know, let's wing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
But you
that's
kind
great.
of have something you do go through a little bit, where the subtopics like these work for us. These are our interests.
oh,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
she
where
loves
you-
to make an outline.
Mhm.
Oh.
That's
She
a-
loves- she loves to make an outline.
We'll open it when she gets there.
I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will. Sometimes I'll do it before, but
Yeah.
very rarely.
I
Very
highlighted
rarely.
the good parts for you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I say, go
Absolutely.
ahead, add anything that you want. She says, well, it's good the way it is.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
But also, we're just like on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
And
So you
it's
kinda
just is like,
know.
okay, well, that's probably what I was gonna say, but okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can we test something real quick? Do you know what I'm thinking of right now, Indya Naomi?
react.
No,
No.
are you kidding me? Never mind. Cut that out.
Yeah.
The thing is, we
Yeah.
literally talked about this earlier. The Sam's survival crab legs. That's
Oh,
all I thought.
absolutely,
That's crazy
absolutely.
that you didn't get
I
that.
was that was second.
You
that was
embarrassed me
second.
in front of
That
these
was
gentlemen.
second. That was second. I told her I got her a
I'm so
gift.
sorry you had to deal with that.
I
That's
know.
okay.
That's
That's all
unprofessional.
right.
You come here and act a fool.
That is crazy.
So what's the long term goal? What are you trying to build this into?
I want to do this. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be able to do entertainment and people not look at us like we're crazy when we say that's
Yeah.
what we do for a job.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love
Yeah.
to just do it, you know, do the
Mhm.
podcast, hopefully have a live that we can do
Mm-hmm.
sustainably that's not going to get banned in a few weeks.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
Do your
then-
drag shows. make
A
money doing
2-woman
that?
show. Take it
Yeah.
on the road. That's what we keep talking
Yeah.
about, a tour bus.
That would
you
be
know.
ideal. To
Yeah.
take what we do now and incorporate our talents and some dance and stuff. And
I would love to teach her an A count.
Mm-hmm.
I would
I
love.
tell you, she
I would love. I
tried.
would love to teach her.
many a time she has tried. She's choreographed every number I've ever done. I've bombed every pageant I've been in. Okay.
Jesus.
So-
Do one of these.
Yeah, a little shimmy.
I don't know if it's my dancing or her choreography, but we didn't win.
Yeah.
So you plan on, if you try to take it outside of the state or outside of the city at all?
Well, we haven't planned on it.
Mhm.
We want to,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
not like
But yeah,
our,
that's
you know.
Alright.
yeah. Do you guys do shows anywhere else? You said Stillwater, Norman, Oklahoma City. Is that kind
Mhm.
of the main?
We have a gig coming up in Indiana.
Oh,
Yes.
Coming up, we're traveling with a friend of ours.
Mhm.
Yes.
St. Louis. So I have some friends that live
Yeah.
there. I just did a week's
Mhm.
worth of drag.
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
guess it was a few months ago now. I did 6 shows in 5 days,
Wow,
which was
yeah.
fun. India was supposed to be there, but she couldn't get off work.
I could not.
So we gotta go back and
no.
do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, that, and then I've been to Dallas a few times. And
Mhm.
so Dallas and Houston,
Mhm.
and Arkansas actually.
Oh yeah, Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. So yeah.
It sounds like you're
Missouri.
doing the job.
Yeah.
Please.
you're already-
Yeah.
Sounds-
Gosh,
Missouri
that's-
was fun. The people there were
Yeah.
so kind. I don't know if it was because I was new, you know, they didn't know me, but they were so kind to me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, y'all, they don't get this in Oklahoma City. Because you walk into a dressing room and they say, "Oh my God, girl, you're doing a great job. You look sickening." They would spit on me here. Are you kidding me?
Maybe that's I mean, when you go out and find different, like we said, different communities or different
Mhm.
places, I mean, Oklahoma does keep you reserved in a big way. so
Absolutely.
You
They
get to go
will try
out
to
and,
humble you.
yeah, and get to express in more free fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, what do you think? You got anything? else?
No, let's see. I guess no, not really. I wanted to talk about the podcast, but we did that. So
Anything you guys can think of?
Any questions for them, India? Cut or run? I'm just kidding. Could you-
No, yeah, please. No.
No?
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, where
Okay.
can people find y'all online? You guys want to shout out where to find the show and
Yeah, I've had a little sign I've been holding up periodically.
Yeah.
Pull it up.
At Queen
Yeah,
Versus
yeah.
on all social media platforms.
Yes.
And that's,
India found out that we're on Amazon Music. She didn't know that.
Oh,
I did
okay,
not. I was
yeah.
like, well, that's crazy.
You don't like the show.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
Okay, no, I listen every week. Every week.
Mhm.
Every week.
Queen
Um,
Versus on all your streaming platforms.
Mhm.
Yep.
Spotify.
And how is it spelled? Is it VS or is it spelled out?
The full word.
VERSUS,
Yeah, the full word.
yeah.
Mhm.
And also at Queen Versus, literally on all social media as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
We have TikTok,
TikTok.
literally
We
everything.
have Instagram.
We have a Twitch, but we don't use it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we have
Go
Twitch.
Go
that
ahead
we
and get
don't
on there.
use.
Just
Soon,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
coming,
so
it's
yeah,
coming.
soon maybe.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then
I like to play
also,
video games.
Oh,
Robert is a part. When I listened to the pod, the main thing I was questioning about is who is Robert.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I hear he sounds like such a sweet
Yeah.
guy. I
Yeah.
We'll have Robert on next week's episode. Just be
Oh,
us
God,
and
the
him.
things that he would say. We're not going to be here for it.
We gotta
Robert,
get this
hey,
out of the way
Robert, I
first.
have a pair of eyelashes in the car. So yeah.
He knows a secret.
Yeah.
We took India's eyelashes off on live last week.
Oh.
We had a goal of gifts, and they sent us enough gifts, and I took off both her
Yeah,
eyelashes on
the
on
rosas.
TikTok
Yeah,
Live.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so whatever we can do to make it
Be
fun.
on there.
And
Yeah.
then the show comes out every Wednesday. Is
Mhm.
that right?
Every
Is it-
single
Every Wednesday.
What,
Yeah.
what time does it launch?
I think I
Just
think post
sometime
it like
Wednesday.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
It's
it
automatic.
yeah, it's
So, yeah.
automatic, and then it just like by the time it fully uploads, it's like
Right.
normally like around somewhere. It's always somewhere between 9 and 11.
Yeah, that's always a good. That's whenever we put ours out. Is around midday. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but no YouTube. That's what I was gonna ask. No, nothing.
Soon.
yeah.
Soon.
Soon.
We're
We're
working
working
on
on it.
We got a
Mhm.
big bash coming up. We're working on funding for our second
Yeah,
camera setup. So
okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna
Yeah.
have our full studio setup to do
Yeah.
full length video
'Cause
content.
that's what I was thinking
Right.
with Twitch. I mean, I know that something that I've thought about, and we will get to, I think, eventually, but YouTube and Twitch you can integrate now, so you can go live on both at the same
Really?
Oh
time.
wow.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
like, even if you don't want to focus on Twitch, you can still kick it over there, and people can watch there
least
too.
watch it.
Right. At least
Yeah.
watch it.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that, because I just love YouTube, and that this type of, like what we were talking about earlier, like YouTube is just the way I watch TV now. It's like,
Yeah.
I love that it's people are able to, like it like this, we can create our own television show essentially, and and broadcast it for no charge,
Yeah.
So
People can
it's-
find their community.
Yeah.
Be seen at
Yeah.
the same time.
So yeah.
I'm a big fan of video games. I don't know if you-
Same.
you are.
Yeah.
I
Same.
remember you saying something on the Christmas episode about
Yes.
that you didn't even have a PS1 because somebody had, or your dad or somebody had it.
Oh, it was my dad's. Yeah,
Yeah.
my dad had it. Yeah, my dad had it, and then we got a GameCube, and my youngest brother was not allowed to play it because he was young and he could break it. So, in a fit of rage, he broke it. And so I was like,
Classic.
okay, cool,
Yeah.
great. But then we got an Xbox, and that was
Upgrade.
Yeah, that was
for
nice.
sure. That's
But
great.
one day I would like to do some Twitch.
Oh,
streaming
yeah.
where we just play games.
I
even
want to.
scary
I've
ones.
wanted to do that for
Oh,
many
scary. That
years.
sounds-
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all play
Mhm.
Overwatch?
I
No.
playing that Marvel Rivals is very similar.
Yeah.
Playing a little
Yeah.
bit of that. I just hate getting beat by an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
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 I've never
It's a tough
been
part.
super into like multiplayer stuff. I'm more of a single
I'm
player.
more of like an RPG.
Yeah.
Like
I love a multiplayer
yeah.
RPG. Not a massively multi. I want it to
Yeah.
be just Robert and I.
Yeah.
Oh,
two
yeah,
player.
yeah.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
He won't play Minecraft with me, unfortunately. So if y'all are out there, y'all want to join my Minecraft server.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, jump on it.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get something together. We join
Yeah,
up. We'll
that's-
play.
Oh,
That's something
absolutely.
that-
Mario
yeah.
Kart.
Oh, yeah,
Mario
yeah,
Party.
yeah.
That's a good
anything like
idea.
that.
for
I'd be
sure.
Yeah.
Real
Absolutely.
stakes Mario Party.
Yeah, right.
We'll see who you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah,
for coming and
thanks for
talking to
coming.
us.
Of
Really
course,
appreciate
thank
it.
you for having us.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate it. Just want to let you know that Campbell and Son Electric does pay for this whole thing, with the exception of Dave.
Wait.
No.
I didn't get any of that money.
No. And Dave. No, but Campbell Sun Electric is our sponsor. Would love to have you give me a call, 405-306-6957. That goes directly to me or my wife. She does my scheduling. I haven't been home in years. Okay. So that's about it. Hunter's Honey. Be sure to hit up Hunter's Honey. He's the door guy at Bricktown Comedy Club. He also sells honey. He's a
Locally made honey.
locally made
please,
honey.
my allergies
He's
are
a
The
bee
bees
shit.
live
shit.
here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Gee.
They're hibernating
Yeah.
right now, so they're sleeping. Is what he said.
Got it.
But he's a super nice guy.
Wake him
and-
up.
I need some honey.
Get to work.
That stings. He's a super nice guy, and it's all local, so you get all of the pollen and everything,
Mhm.
and it helps you with your allergies.
Oh, yeah.
It's helped my kids. It's helped me.
Now, is that in the gift basket y'all got us? Is that in the gift
Did you
basket?
get the?
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
We're
what
glad
this-
you're here.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Thank you.
Goodbye forever.
Yeah.